Welcome to A Century of Cinema. Today I will be exploring my favourite films of 1950. First, Cyrano de Bergerac. Based on Edmond Rostand's play, Jose Ferrer stars in the title role as the swashbuckling, witty, romantic soldier with the improbably large nose who is in love with Roxanne, Marla Powers. However, she has taken a shine to Christian, played by William Prince, and implores Cyrano to take Christian under his wing to protect him from harm. Cyrano agrees and soon discovers that Christian does not exactly have a way with words. Cyrano decides that since Roxanne has always appreciated a poetic soul, that he will aid Christian by writing his letters to Roxanne. The story of Cyrano de Bergerac has become part of human vocabulary at this point, so I'll move on to what I believe are the two main draws of the film. The screenplay by Carl Foreman, which is an extremely faithful adaptation of Rostand's play, or at least the Brian Hooker English translated version, albeit somewhat abridged, and it's magnificent. Naturally, much of this is brought forward from the source material, but it has such wit and heart that it could scarcely be improved upon. And first and foremost, Jose Ferrer, in the role and performance of his career. He takes those delicious lines and relishes every word. Plus, his swashbuckling aplomb contrasts against his nervousness and heartache when it comes to Roxanne, which most assuredly do justice to this iconic character. Billy Wilder's Sunset Boulevard stars William Holden as a struggling screenwriter, Joe Gillis, who, while trying to hide his car from repo men, meets former silent movie star Norma Desmond, played by silent film star Gloria Swanson. She enlists Joe to help her write a screenplay for what she believes will be her big comeback. She takes advantage of Joe's poverty and uses it to attempt to own him, body and soul. She is assisted by her butler Max, Erich von Stroheim, who was once her director and first husband. Joe begins secretly collaborating on a script with a young and bright reader for Paramount named Betty Schaefer, which does not sit well with Norma. From the very beginning of Sunset Boulevard, you know things are not going to turn out well for Joe, since in practically the first shot, under Holden's narration, we see his lifeless corpse floating in a pool. Of course, it's how he got there that's the thing. And that journey has gone down as one of cinema history's true classics. Billy Wilder directs and co-writes with his perennial collaborator Charles Brackett and D.H. Marsman Jr. to perhaps finally elevate the art of the original screenplay to the level of the adaptation in the eyes of Hollywood. So often before this point, the big movies were almost always based on a novel or play. It seems that the age of the original screenplay was at the very least solidified with Sunset Boulevard, if not begun by it. And on top of that remarkable achievement are some career-best performances from Swanson, Holden, and von Stroheim, Oscar-winning production design, which is at the same time incredibly authentic and quite offbeat, and John F. Seitz's sometimes confronting, sometimes dreamy, always excellent cinematography. Plus, as a bonus, you get fun little cameos from the likes of Cecil B. DeMille and Buster Keaton playing themselves. Gloria Swanson is a genuinely iconic figure as Norma Desmond. Despite being a huge star who made scores of films in the silent era, or perhaps because of it, this is the role Swanson will be remembered for. A good deal of the credit for Sunset Boulevard belongs to Billy Wilder. This is his masterpiece, as a writer and particularly as a director. His style evokes such masters as Hitchcock and Wells, yet it is still very distinctly Wilder. Moody, dark, yet always simmering with sly humour and touches of melancholy. That's why Billy Wilder is my choice for Best Director for 1950.
All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
All About Eve, written and directed by Joseph L. Mankiewicz, based in part on Mary Orr's story The Wisdom of Eve, concerns an aging stage actress, Margot Channing, played by Bette Davis, and her dealings with a scheming wannabe named Eve Harrington, Anne Baxter. Eve, while externally humble, fawning, and subservient to Margot, secretly plots to take everything she has. First, she takes advantage of the kindness of Margot's best friend Karen Richards, played by Celeste Holm, who is married to Lloyd, Hugh Marlowe, and he has written plays for Margot, giving them both a great deal of success. Eve manages to encourage Karen to help her become Margot's understudy, and even engineer a night when Margot cannot perform, which she almost immediately regrets. At this point, Eve attempts and fails dismally to steal Margot's fiancé, director Bill Sampson, played by Gary Merrill, and even works on a somewhat less savvy Lloyd. Throughout all this, acerbic theatre critic Addison DeWitt, and ideally cast George Sanders, helps Eve get what she wants, but she soon finds that Addison is an even bigger shark than she is. All About Eve garnered 14 Oscar nominations, a record at the time, and won 6, including Best Picture, Director, Screenplay, and Supporting Actor for Sanders. It was the first film to receive 4 nominations for actresses, 2 lead for Davis and Baxter, and 2 supporting for Holm and Thelma Ritter, who is certainly a standout as Margot's streetwise assistant Birdie. And along with Sanders, it is the women who really shine, particularly Ritter, Holm, and Davis. Throw in a brief yet scene-stealing early role from Marilyn Monroe, and it is quite the actress showcase. And the greatness of the performances is even more enhanced by Mankiewicz's screenplay. It is somewhat of a hybrid, since Mankiewicz merged his own idea about an aging actress with Mary Orr's story and created some of the characters, Addison and Birdie, for example. The result is, in my opinion, one of the greatest screenplays ever written, dripping with the most sparkling dialogue you'll ever hear, particularly when delivered by George Sanders and the always amazing Bette Davis, in possibly her most authentic performance. So All About Eve is my choice of Best Screenplay for Joseph L. Mankiewicz, and once again, Bette Davis is my Best Actress.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Finally, it's Harvey. Based on the play by Mary Chase, it stars James Stewart as Elwood P. Dowd, a particularly kind and friendly man whose best friend is a 6 foot 3.5 inch white rabbit named Harvey, who nobody else can see. His older sister Vita, played by Josephine Hull, dismayed by the outcast status placed upon her and her daughter Myrtle May due to Elwood's so-called delusions, decides to have him committed at Chumley's rest home. There he meets Dr. Sanderson, Charles Drake, who mistakenly commits Vita instead, and Nurse Kelly, played with warmth and charm by Peggy Dow, who is enamoured with the all-business Sanderson. Elwood manages to help them get together, while everybody else is looking for him to put him away. The head of the rest home, Dr. Chumley, then goes missing, and it is discovered that he actually met Harvey, and it has changed his entire outlook. Bizarrely, the existence, or whatever you want to call it, of Harvey is actually quite incidental when it comes to what makes this movie so special. It is the character of Elwood, played with an insane amount of charm, humour and sensitivity by Stewart. It doesn't take long to realise that he's not the crazy one here. He has it all figured out. He just walks the streets, hangs out in bars, and is kind to everyone, which improves the lives of anyone who is open to what he has to offer. And he has a philosophy of life which I believe we all could stand to take on board.
You know, years ago, my mother used to say to me, she'd say, in this world, Elwood, you must be, she always called me Elwood. In this world, Elwood, you must be oh so smart or oh so pleasant. Well, for years I was smart. I recommend pleasant.
Great dialogue, cinematography that feels like a soothing bath, another incredibly endearing Jimmy Stewart turn, ably supported by Josephine Hull's Oscar-winning performance as Vita, Peggy Dow to fall in love with, a lot of laughs, and 1,000 summers of warmth, all combined for one of my all-time favourite movies. And a sentiment that, if you let it, stays with you, and could even make you a better person. But hey, it's just a movie, right? Oh yeah, and Harvey isn't real either, is he? So this masterpiece of the feel-good variety is my choice for Best Actor, James Stewart, and Best Picture of 1950. Join me next time on A Century of Cinema when I will be discussing my favourite films of 1951. Now go watch a movie.